So today we're taking a bit of a step back from the usual BMW content. The car is still in the exact same spot that you guys saw it in the last video. I'm gonna be honest, I've been slacking pretty goddamn hard trying to do this head gasket. Now there is a reason that I have been slacking doing the engine on the E36. As some of you may know, I've never really shown the car in a video, but my daily driver used to be a little blue Fiat 500. And unfortunately, it decided to take a crap on me recently. And I've owned that car long enough and I've driven it enough to where, like, I don't know, I'm kind of over that car at this point. So instead of putting the money into that car right away to get it fixed and get it back on the road, I decided to go out and make a little bit of a purchase and get something that I have been wanting for quite some time now. It's nothing really flashy. It's not sporty by any means, but I will tell you that it's quite unique. So this is my new 1997 Toyota Ram. Now I'm sure you heard how I put a little bit of an emphasis on new. Now it's not quite brand new, but once you see what I'm about to show you, like, you'll understand. You see that? That's not even miles. That's 18,936 kilometers. Now, of course, I've already been driving this car for a bit, so I've already put like a good chunk of miles on it. And when I bought it, this thing only had, I think it was just like something over 17,000 kilometers. So I was able to pick up this 1997 Toyota Ram, and it had essentially like 10,000 miles on it. Now, I know you might be asking yourself, like, what makes this car so unique? You know, it's like, we've seen plenty of right-hand drive vehicles before. Like, what's so unique about this one? Well, not only is it the first year that it's legal in the US, considering it's a 1997, but it's also the first production year of this car. So I'd be willing to say that at the moment, I'm one of maybe like maybe a handful of people, maybe a little bit in the double digits, that actually owns a Toyota Ram in the United States. Now, like I said, this thing isn't flashy by any means. Like, it's not sporty or anything. It just looks like your typical MPC type vehicle. But the more you start to look at some of the things on this car, the kind of quirkier it becomes. Like, for example, it's got sliding doors, and not even only on one side. It's got sliding doors on both sides. You can see how big this thing is. Like, it's not massive. Like, this thing, I like to call it a minivan. But since we have the back doors open, we'll go a little bit even deeper. We've got these super cool floor mats that just scream 90s. And then these seats are almost like a kind of confetti type, just straight out of the 90s. But then it keeps getting better. It just keeps getting better. The rear seats, they recline on both sides. And not only do they recline, but they also lean forward. And then as we move on to the back of the car, the rear hatch opens like a door. And there's like a surprising amount of space back here. It's absolutely insane. I don't know. Like, none of this stuff would really like mean much to the average person, but to me, it's just a bunch of little quirks and cool things that I feel like you don't really see on a lot of cars here in the US. Now, as we go on into the front seat, we see that the floor mats do continue everywhere on the floor of this car. And by the way, just like looking at the interior, like the entire interior is just immaculate. Of course, like, I'm terrible at getting in cars and I've been scuffing up the bottom of the door, but that's something that can be fixed. But yeah, you can see even up like all the buttons on the radio, all the climate control stuff, like nothing's fading, like it's all still super crisp and clean. And one thing that I really love about this car is all the little compartments that are in here. So like, first of all, you see like there's no center console, but thankfully you don't need that because we got a cubby down here that you can put a lot of stuff in. You got your little coin thing. And then over here for the driver, you got another little cubby right here. And then even underneath the passenger seat, there's another little cubby that actually has a surprising amount of space in. And then, of course, you have your glove box as well. One thing that I did notice when I actually first got this car was that I was noticing that there are no cup holders anywhere. But turns out, they just sit underneath here. Granted, you can't really fit any large drinks in this cup holder, but I guess that's kind of just like a Japanese thing. They don't really have big drinks in Japan like we have here in the US. But honestly, they're good enough. I can fit my energy drink in it, and really that's all that matters. And then, of course, it's got power windows all around, power locks. But one thing that I wasn't really expecting this car to have was power mirrors. Like, what? Not even my Fiat had that. Now, moving on to the exterior of the car, this thing is about as clean as it gets. Now, cars tend to look cleaner on camera, but I'm telling you that this thing looks just as clean in real life. Now, of course, with any car, like even low mileage cars, there's gonna be like subtle imperfections here and there. Like here on the rear door, there's a couple little scratches. I'm sure those can be taken out. And then on the taillights, there's like a couple little cracks here and there, but they're nothing too serious. And honestly, from even like a couple feet back, you can't even notice them. And how immaculate this car looks even transfers into the engine bay. So the engine that this car has is Toyota's 5e FE, if I'm not mistaken. And it's a 1.5 liter 4-cylinder. Now, of course, it's an engine bay from the 90s, so it's never gonna look like perfect. But as you can see, like this engine is bone dry. And like all the places that you would expect to see any sort of rust, there's just none. Like the most rust that you're gonna see on this is like on these hose clamps. And even those are just like the most minor of surface rust. And it even has all the maintenance stickers from when it was in Japan. So I do have a lot of faith that this car was very well kept when it was in Japan. And obviously it wasn't even driven that much considering how low of mileage it has. And what's crazy is the cleanliness of the engine bay actually translates to what the underside of the car looks like as well. I've seen videos from the dealership. They got up underneath the car, took a bunch of videos, and the underside looks absolutely spotless. It almost looked too good to be true, but all the little fine details on this car, like everything matches up. And it's overall just legitimately a super nice car. Like even down to like the window seals and all the door seals and everything, like all the rubber, there's no cracking. And as you can hear, like it's plenty hydrated and still, it feels like brand new rubber. I'm blown away with how clean of a car this actually ended up being. Because like I said, seeing a lot of the videos of the underside of the car, like it almost seemed too good to be true, especially hearing a lot of the horror stories that I've heard of people buying imported cars from certain dealerships around the Pacific Northwest. But I can assure you, the dealership that I got this from, they sell some really clean cars, and they don't seem to be the type that would hide anything from their customers. By the way, speaking of the dealership that I got this from, shout out to JDM Car and Motorcycle up north of Seattle. If you guys are ever looking for a right-hand drive vehicle from Japan, they're the ones I would start looking at first. They have everything from your K trucks to cars like this to your Daihatsus. They even have little Japanese motorcycles. They have a little bit of everything. And no, I was not paid by them to say any of this. I just legitimately think that they are a group of great people and they sell some very nice cars. Now, I don't really intend to have this be any sort of car that I'm going to make content with, but I will tell you a couple of things that I plan on doing to this. First of all, want to get some window tint. Second of all, I really want to get rid of these little 14-inch steely wheels. I'm just not a fan of wheel covers, not a fan of steelies. Even though it would be cool to keep the car looking how it was stocked from Japan, like, I don't know. I want something a little bit nicer looking, something a little, I wouldn't say flashy, just something to spice up the look just a little bit. And then along with that, I'm also debating on maybe doing a head unit just so I don't have to run this little Bluetooth adapter. You know, some just little creature comforts, quality of life type things, nothing serious. I've had plenty of friends, immediately when they saw the car, they're like, so you're going to lower it, right? And I don't know. I went through all that with my Fiat. And at the end of the day, I just want this thing to remain as stock as possible, super reliable, and something that I'm going to be able to drive for years to come. But I think that pretty much covers all the stuff that I wanted to cover on this car. And now it's on to some really, really big news. If you've been watching the channel long enough, I imagine you've been watching the subscriber count, and we recently hit 1,000 subscribers. Like I've said before, when I initially made this YouTube channel, it wasn't really with any intention of trying to like get big on YouTube or anything like that. I initially did it just so I can track my progress working on cars and exploring my passion of cars. And I don't know, along the way, I've been able to help a lot of people, and obviously enough people have seen my videos and really liked what I've been putting out, and they've decided to subscribe. And thus brings us to the 1,000 subscriber mark. And I just want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you all so very much for everything that you do to help me keep going. All the comments, all the likes. I don't know. It's just little things, hearing people say that I've helped them so much working on their BMW and stuff like that. It's just stuff like that that really keeps me going. And like, I'm gonna be really straight with you right now. The day that I hit 1,000 subscribers, like, it was cool at first. I was like, oh shit, hit 1,000 subscribers. Like, that's awesome. And directly after that, like, I made my post on Instagram, made a little community post that some of you might have seen on YouTube. And hearing all like the praise from people and other things that happened that same day, I'm not gonna lie, I had a nice little cry session, and it felt good. I don't know. I just feel so fortunate to be in a position where I'm able to make content and have the chance to be able to help other people out there that are exploring the same passion that I am. You know, it feels like we really have a nice little community here on YouTube. And like, I know 1,000 subscribers isn't like a whole lot, but you know, it's something. But now that we have hit the 1,000 subscriber mark, I have been having my buddies begging me for quite a long time now to start dropping some merch. So officially, now that we've hit 1,000 subscribers, I kind of feel like it's time to start putting something out there in case any of you guys want to rock some JamDrifts merch. So I've ordered some test shirts. Me and my buddies, we're going to try them out. We're going to see what the quality's like. And then hopefully in the next couple weeks, I'll have something that I'll actually be able to show you guys. But anyways, I think that's going to do it for this video, guys. Once again, thank you so much for 1,000 subscribers. And I guess here's to the next 1,000 subscribers. I hope y'all have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one.